Alright, and very quickly I am into the finals. Now, this is not very far away from being a dream hand. I mean, um, I have, let's see, what can I activate it? I have turn 2, draw 2 cards. Turn 1, I have Lotus Petal. Ooh, I changed that. I have turn 1, draw 2 cards. Alright, that's pretty sweet. Now he's showing me a red-green land. That could be Tarmo Twin, that could be Burn, it could be... I have no idea what it could be. There's a lot of things, red-green is the... or red is the basis of so many decks right now that... yeah, it could be anything. It could even be the boat. Oops, sorry about that. Alright, so I'm doing yield, affinity, throw my hand up on the table and pass my turn. Which is pretty sweet. Alright, he's got the old school Shocklands, which I believe are 30 cents more than the new school Shocklands. Very classy. Alright, so we got a Bolt. That doesn't tell me anything. All that, him playing a green land, all that tells me is, I mean, going for a red-green, okay, so it's Naya Zoo. I don't know too many decks that, other than Kiki Pod, which is no longer illegal. That's the worst part about Affinity, and why Affinity was so good when Liliana wasn't seeing play and Goyf wasn't seeing play, is that Affinity, oh yeah, first you want to draw your 2 cards before you start playing out garbage. Okay, so I'm going to play, I think Ravager is the best here, because I may need that Ornithopter to block at some point. When Jund was kind of a dead deck after they banned Deathrite, I'm just gonna take the 5. It's a 5/6. It's pretty scary. But no, when Deathrite Shaman was banned, it was really scary to play Affinity because you go turn 1 Thoughtseize into turn 2 Goyf, and it's a 5/6 against Affinity. And Liliana, even if you manage to kill Liliana, it still makes the Goyf a 6/7. You have absolutely no way of dealing with it except for chump blocking. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of that. Alright, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna play out both Signal Pests. He would need Anger of the Gods, and I don't think that a Naya Zoo deck would play Anger of the Gods. Due to the fact that they need anger of the, they need their creatures not to die. I mean, I have to be wary of Lightning Helix, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Lightning Bolt, Path to Exile. So, and I guess I'm not gonna put him on anger. That would just be crazy. And it seems like he's not playing any black, so this isn't the Siege Rhino version. The biggest issue that you could argue that he's had so far, and I'm just going to block in sack to Ravager. The biggest issue that he's had is that he can't. Well, his Zoo always has this issue of it deals more damage to itself than it does to its opponents. Now here, I think he's just straight dead. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh god, there's a lot of math going on here. Either way, this is lethal. So he needs Helix, which I would negate with Ravager, and then just stick all the counters onto something. Yeah, attack with everything. Use Steel Overseer to pump 1. He may have just done his combat math wrong and needed to stay back, but because he wasn't dealing 13, he wasn't dealing 18 points of damage or whatever it was with the Goyf that last turn. Yeah, that's -1. Alright, sweet. So I need to worry about just like Scavenging Ooze, Noble Hierarch, Quasali Pride Mage, Voice of Resurgence. So I'm going to take out Masters and bring in this guy, which against him would be insane. I just don't like Springleaf Drum. I'm going to bring in Whip Flare to deal with any potential, like Hierarch, Birds of Paradise, that kind of deal. I also need to worry about, in terms of his sideboard, the things he can have are, let's see, Wear and Tear, Anger of the Gods, Pyroclasm, Stony Silence, Creeping Corrosion, but Fracturing Gust. But he has to make a choice, right? When he built his deck and he thought he may run into Affinity, does he bring in Stony Silence or does he bring in Creeping Corrosion? And you have to make the argument of which one of these is better. In this case, honestly, I think Stony Silence, people used to have more hate for Affinity. That's why I think it's so well positioned at the moment. And also the inclusion of 2 to 3 Spellskites. Maybe I'll just have main deck 2 Spellskites and have 2 on the board. But the inclusion of Spellskite just makes, yeah, that's fine. It's a smiter. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna hopefully get a little more action than Steel Overseer and Midnight next turn. Alright. Steel Overseer, Midnight, pass. I have 3 Cranial Platings in hand. That seems pretty good. No, but I think that he's worried, a deck like his would be more worried for the twin matchup. So he probably has things like Celestial Purge and I don't even know. I would guess Wear and Tear would be more his thing. Yeah, I just got Bonfired. I love Bonfire. I am an advocate for Bonfire. I am not an advocate for Bonfire being in a Zoo deck that does not produce a ton of mana. In that case, actually, I think, while Pyroclasm kills his own Hierarch, it's probably 1,000 times better to play a Pyroclasm there and just wipe my board instead of leaving me with creatures that I can stick Cranial Platings on. So, I'm going to play Cranial Plating. He'll probably slow play the Path to Exile. He blatantly left up white mana. If you play Affinity, you can't be scared. It's like, no fear. You can't. Who gives a crap, If they have removal, they have removal. If they don't, they don't. But you can't sit there and worry about them slow rolling or representing something. It's pointless. You're either gonna win or you're gonna lose. It's a deck that has probably a 75% win rate on the play on game 1, and then it drops down to maybe 50% games 2 and 3, depending on what you have in your sideboard or how your deck's built. I'd love to try this with Dark Confidant. That would actually be pretty badass. I mean, I guarantee you he has Helix, Bolt, or Path to Exile, seeing as I didn't see either of those. So, now, okay, if that was a Mox instead of a Cranial Plating, I could have activated Inkmoth and gotten in with that, because Inkmoth probably scares him more. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Inkmoth probably scares him more than anything. Infect is just a scary thing. Yeah, okay, I'll just equip to that. I love how people always forget that you can, equip doesn't have split second or whatever. It's not trick bind. There, you know, although you can trick bind it, yes, but um, it just doesn't seem to make much sense to, you know, it would have made more sense to just kill my dude, like after I had equipped, so that way I couldn't double equip my Ornithopter. Um, I'm hoping next turn to triple equip said Ornithopter, although he's probably slow rolling removal again. I don't know why decks do this. I mean, it's not like once I'm tapped out, it's not like I have, you know, Simeon's Heroic Guide. You know what I'm saying? So, you like that though? I went with the really classy island. Normally I play with much nicer lands, but, you know, the lower the deck, the less willing I am to put in nicer stuff. Alright, so let's think about this logically, right? I have cranial plating, cranial plating, cranial plating. Can I kill him with infect? Alright, he's tapped out. So that's okay. So that's if I was to play another cranial plating, I would have 1, 2. So I'd still only have 2 mana. I attach cranial plating here. I activate, attach, attach. I have 1 mana open. That would be 1, 2, 3. I'm just gonna hope for like a Midnight or an Ornithopter. Shit, that sucks. I think this is a misplay. Yeah, because even if I get to turn on that, I mean, I need to hit an Ornithopter or a Midnight. That's it. Any of 0. Oh my god. Of all the cards, that's not the one I wanted to draw there. Now I can't kill him because I have 4 artifacts represented in play. So the 2 cranial platings, it's only 9 infect. That sucks. Well, does anyone else notice the stupidity of him tapping out there with Scavenging Ooze? He gave me time to figure this out. Mind you, had I not used the Draw 2 spell, I could have had enough mana to double equip and used Blink Moth to turn itself on, and that would have been 5, so that would have been 11 in fact. That's very frustrating. So I brought in Spells Guides. I bring in Spells Guides so much, I don't know why I don't just main deck them. So I'm on the play here, and this hand is Bananas, Bananas. I have on turn 1, Signal Pass, Vault Scourge, turn 2, I have either Ravager or the Face of Modern Masters 2. Okay, so I'm going to tap 3, get that into play immediately because there's very few, if any, answers to that. He did already show Bonfire. Bonfire is an answer, but next turn I can play Arcbound Ravager, which then kind of stops that plan. So this is good. Getting in for 2 allows me to at least gain back the life that I lost from playing the Signal Pest. And puts him on a serious clock. He needs to draw out of his ass right now. I'm not kidding you. This is the start to end all starts. It's very difficult to come back from something like this. Alright. See, you can't do that. You can't play the old school Shocklands and the new school Fetchlands. Like, that's just stupid. And that's a turn too late. That's Stony Silence. That doesn't even bother me right now. Like, I still have Ravager in play. I still have Vault Scourge. I have Inkmoth Nexus. That's scarier than all the other cards, to be honest. And he's at 11. So this game is just very, very close to over. Cards that have been taken out of the equation, Spellskite and my Cyborg, yeah, it's fine. You can play that. I really don't care. Spellskite's been taken out of the equation. Ravager's been taken out of the equation. Yeah, see, Cranial Plating is now dead. It's not entirely dead, but it's pretty dead. So, Master of Ethereum actually would have been good in this board state, because... Okay, so this is a problem with version 4.0. Version 3.0 used to tell you if a land had summoning sickness. It doesn't say that anymore. It's very frustrating, especially in this exact situation. Alright, so he's going to go down to 10. That's fine, I have no problems with that. That's still a 5-turn clock, so... And he kills my Inkmoth Nexus, the one that could not attack. I think someone could not read their own cards, because I could not activate Arcbound Ravager's ability and sacrifice Inkmoth. I mean, he was more than, you know, it probably would have made more sense to block or just straight up. I think the Signal Pest is still scarier than the Vault, you know, than the Inkmoth, especially when I represent another Inkmoth in play. Now, in this case, he did show me Bonfire, and Signal Pest is a pretty scary clock, and I want to, like, diverse my portfolio here a little bit. So I put the 1/1 counter on Signal Pest, although I feel like I should have put the 1/1 counter on my protection from everything that you have card. I could, you know, I'm just going to activate Blink Moth. I mean, I have enough mana to do everything that I want in this deck. I took out my 3 drops, so... except for one of them, and I already have it in play. He finally picked the right card to kill, but he gave me a land. So, in the off chance I draw another protection from everything that your opponent has card, then I'm good. So he's taking 3 here, which is not good for him. That puts him at 2. He needs a mass removal spell. Very bad. Or a Spellskite. Spellskite works. It can block. What else? He needs, like... Okay, so any damage spell doesn't do it. So Bonfire doesn't do it. Creeping Corrosion does it. But his land there almost kills him too, so he's got to deal with both threats simultaneously without dealing damage to himself on 4 lands. Creeping Corrosion's the only card I could think of, and I doubt that he has it. Helix actually would keep him alive for an extra turn. Actually, it would keep him alive for 2 extra turns, which doesn't seem terrible. So I'm just going to pause it here while he tries to do math. Alright, so he's sacking, but he tapped both his white mana. That was... So even if he drew Lightning Helix, he was dead to it. Nature's Claim, maybe, on his own Stony Silence, to gain 4 life. Then I kill him with Cranial Plating. Alright, he finally figured out he's dead. There's 2 QPs, 5 worthless packs. Alright, Affinity is fun. I will see you guys next time.